Screen time here includes everything: using a mobile phone, watching TV, playing video games, or squandering time on the laptop. Or excess screen time is such a big problem today. Clients have told me that their children screen time is very high these days. It ranges from 4 hours to even 10 hours a day. It can become that bad. Parents complain that their children are completely lost. They don't study, they don't eat, they don't interact with family members. The only friends they have are online. They don't go out to play, just lying in the bed all day, lost in their virtual world. They don't sleep on time, and it's all because the child's life revolves around mobile, video games, laptop, and TV. So, what can be done? Let's first begin with the things that you shouldn't do, things that don't work and can make the problem even worse. First is requesting. Sometimes you think that all they need is little compassion. They will eventually listen to you and cooperate. If you calmly ask them to return the phone and ask them not to use it excessively because it is bad for them, unfortunately, they won't, because requesting can hardly solve this problem. And along with this comes the desire of testing the child's willpower. And so testing their willpower is the second thing that won't succeed. So some of my clients, they tell me, why should I have to prevent my child from using the phone? I want my child to take their own decision and come to a stop, or I want them to be accountable, or my youngster ought to be strong enough to walk away by himself. Why do I have to explain everything each time? Well, this won't work. A child practically won't be able to stop using computer or other screen because it is so rewarding to the brain and it is so entertaining. And I'm sorry, parents are not as entertaining as phone or TV. So it would be wiser not to subject them to this test. Third is nagging or shouting. This is the negative version of requesting, where you just increase the intensity of asking. So these were some things that won't work. So what will work? Here are some suggestions. First thing, prevention. Don't ever let this habit take root. If your child is young, like below 12, it's relatively easier to establish authority and say no to something. Parents often allow children phones, iPads, and laptops to just keep the trouble away from them. Like if children are busy with those gadgets, at least they won't create a mess or they won't fight. At least I'll have some peace of mind. So keeping your children away from gadgets get harder and harder as they grow up and as their addiction becomes deeper. It becomes extremely difficult when they are adolescent, like above 12. Habits are formed and they are big enough to start answering back or challenging your authority. So to all the parents whose children are younger, let me tell you, become careful and strict right now. Now, how do you actually do it? I'll share some techniques. First, clear rule for the screen time. Here I assume that you as a parent also follow the family rules. Having a clear rule for how much screen time is accepted in the house is very crucial. Maybe 1 to 2 hours or more, depending on what the child is actually doing at that time. Come up with the number of very specific number of hours which are allowed. And that number must be communicated to the child very clearly and strongly. So if you decide, for example, 2 hours, make it a rule and don't let them break it. After you make a rule of how many hours, depending on the time which child is doing. If the child is doing some project work or homework, we need to give them extra time. So second is monitoring. Probably the most successful technique here is monitoring, by which I mean using your authority to say no. If the child uses the phone for more than the pre-decided time, seize the phone. No negotiation, no fights. Clean, well-established authority and execution of rules. This involves making sure that your well-thought-out and rational decisions are executed without abuse or violence and with the least possible harm. And when it comes to screen time, clear rules must be implemented instead of requesting, nagging, or shouting in anger. Third, rational, consistent communication. You made a rule and you are executing it, but the child doesn't know why. So it is your job to communicate everything rationally and consistently. You must learn how to make them understand the reasons behind your decision. So what are the reasons behind cutting down the screen time? There could be many, like preventing addiction, healthy eyes, avoiding sedentary lifestyle, engaging with real people, real things. And those reasons must be communicated in every manner possible. Calmly, strongly, in short, in detail. Even if they disagree with them, you need to keep telling them. Consistency matters. And let me mention it very clearly. As you introduce clear rules and ensure implementing them by monitoring and even rational communication, you'll get a lot of resistance and a lot of talking back or a lot of tantrums. But you must keep going forward and learn to deal with all the rebellion. You cannot accept defeat. When they resist, it's your turn to learn something. It's your time to solve that problem. Fourth, and very important, replace screen time with better real activities. To take something away from them, you must give them something back. Some options at least. Buy them toys, comic books, good board games, which are social, educational in nature. Put them in music or dance class. Take them out. Exercise with them. Put them in sports academy. Have a lot of fun with them. Talk to them at least for an hour every day. Find ways that they can hang out with their friends, make sure they sleep full hours, etc. And making sure that they stick to these new, better activities will also take a lot of rational communication. But ultimately, they'll catch on if they find them rewarding, which they will. It's a matter of time. Again, this period of transition will be tough, but that's the way to go. And my last suggestion, don't ever give up on your child. All of your child's problem can be worked through with humor, goodwill, and perseverance. With proper parental support, even the most troublesome teens can become amazing people. So adopting these tips for your family may take a little adjusting, but stick with it. And you'll see and love the results. When we take compassion and kindness into parenting practices, we are going to have much better outcome. And the whole family is going to be happier and healthier.